Hello everyone. This is Vishal here from Vision Language Experts. We have Weber from Aussie Script. Thank you, Weber, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Vishal.
Today we'll be discussing. Thank you, sir. We'll be discussing today the recent changes in PTE. Now, the recent changes proposed by PTE, actually it was proposed in one of the report, which is called Concordance 2020 report, where they are basically matching their level with the IELTS. Now, that report, that update has created a big debate, controversial debate throughout the students, throughout the industry. And a lot of students are in that dilemma whether they should rely on the previous scores or whether they should work on the updated scores. Now, as I said, Weber will be clearing a lot of our doubts. Let's hear from the expert itself. Weber, please share your insights, especially when it comes to the 8 each mark, because there's a significant upward trend from 79 to 84. That's what they have proposed. That's what they have updated in their report. How does it affect the students? How does it affect the old students? And what do you think will be the implications in the future? Right. Over to you, Weber, please.
Thank you very much, Vishal. So welcome everyone. So yes, now with PTE wise, obviously Vishal is a better person to answer how to score this in PTE's exams. But impact of these changes on immigration technically for now is zero. Why? Is because you need to understand these changes has been announced by the PTE. Or these are not even a changes at the moment. I would say that they are saying that our score equal to IELTS is this. If you're trying to score, let's say, Superior English, which is in Department of Home Affairs will accept Superior English, which is 8 in each module in IELTS, or 79 in each module in PTE, right? So that remains the same because the Department of Home Affairs has not changed this criteria. So the Department of Home Affairs has a criteria called Competent English, Proficient English, and Superior English. Now, if it is a competent English, you need IELTS 6 in each, and in PT, you need 15 in each module. Right? So that remains the same. That doesn't change. The same way, if you are applying for, let's say, a permanent visa and you need to get proficient English for your visa application, or you need to get a superior English. For a proficient English, you need IELTS 7 each. The same way in PT, you need 65 in each. That has not changed. So this changes, or this announcement does not impact your migration pathway. Now, the next thing is Superior English. Now, Superior English, you need 8 in each in IELTS. The same way you need 79 in PT in each module, right? That the definition of Superior English remains the same for a Department of Home Affairs. That means that they are not saying that we are going to ask you now to provide 84 in each module, for example, right? For Superior English. For you to claim 20 points, you still need 79 in each, unless the Department of Home Affairs changes this criteria. They haven't announced any changes. Like, for example, if you take a simple logic, your PT score, if you look at your PT score, it will say validity is 2 years, right? But the Department of Home Affairs says the validity is 3 years. So there can be the similar way that PT might say, okay, Superior English for us equal to IELTS 8 each is 84, but the Department of Home Affairs might just keep it to 79. But for now, they have not announced any changes. So the Department of Home Affairs, for immigration purpose, the criteria remains 79 in each. For Superior English, to get 20 points. Proficient English, 65 in each module. Basically, that's still the same. And for Competent English, you need minimum 50 in each module. We also have been approached from a lot of our clients who applied for the PR already and they're waiting for the PR grant. Oh, Weber, will I be impacted of this one? No, you will not be. And the people who are actually waiting for their invite, they're like, oh, do I have to appear again in PT and get 84? No, again, answer is no, you don't have to, because you are still meeting the definition of a proficient English or superior English. So you don't have to redo the test unless the Department of Home Affairs makes any changes and announce those changes. So I hope, Vishal, this answers the questions for all of your students as well, and the people who are looking for migration and using this course for migration purpose.
Definitely. Thank you so much. That was a very valuable insight, I guess. The other question which we're getting, Weber, is that when should this change be, updated in the immigration website? What are the chances, or what is the estimate time? Could it be this year, or could it be the next year? There are a lot of things which, we have basically, a lot of questions which we have received over the past few days, especially related to this particular thing, that Vishal, please let us know whether we should start working towards a goal now, or should we wait for, can we wait for some time? That is the confusion. Do you have any insight about that as well, Vaibhav?
Yes, so basically, see, as I said, the Department of Home Affairs has not even given an indication of this upcoming changes for English requirement, right? So this is completely PT's announcement. Your PT's announcement, like tomorrow IELTS says, okay, we will keep our validity for 4 years, right? Or PT says our validity is 4 years now. So the department has not indicated that we will keep it to 4 years as well. They are saying that our validity period is still 3 years. So unless the Department of Home Affairs gives you an indication that we are likely to change this criteria, then yes, you have to start working. But for now, I would recommend nobody will have to have, like, they don't have to worry at all, because the department has not given an indication. And if they are intending to do it, most of the times the Department of Home Affairs plays very fair, and they generally announce the criteria in advance that, okay, people taking the example. So let's say if the rule changes as well, for now there is no indication, but in case, let's think that the department will be changing it soon, right? Or they are going to change. Then they generally, there are two possibilities. So they might say, okay, anybody appearing in the test from this date will have to meet this score criteria. Or they might say, okay, anybody applying for the visa from today onwards will have to meet the new score criteria, but the old people who have already lost the visa will still be considered under the old rule. The reason is because at the time of application for your visa application, let's say I got a client who lodged a 190 visa application just a month ago or so. She called me up and she asked me the question that, do I have to redo the test? I was like, no, because when you applied for this visa, the rule is that you have to meet the proficient English, and the proficient English or superior English criteria was 79 in PT or 65 in PT for proficient. So you met that criteria? Yes, right? So the criteria was at the time of visa application. So that doesn't affect anyway. So even if the department changes the rule, the people who have already lost the visa will not be impacted at all. The only people who can be impacted is the people who are going to apply for the visa. So if the department changes the criteria, then only. But clear disclaimer, the department has not given any indication, not at all. So basically, there is no indication of this being changed for now. So superior English, proficient English, and competent English definition for Department of Home Affairs, that means for immigration purpose, remains the same. So the same way, the other way around as well. So if you say, if they've said that, okay, for 6 Cs in IELTS, we just need 46, right? So I also had a client approach me yesterday saying that, okay, can you lodge my EUI? I have 47 in one module and 15 other ones. So I was like, we can't lodge your EUI because you don't have the competent English, right? Because the definition is still the same. So it's both ways.
All right.
So if it is easy for you, also it doesn't apply to you. And if it is hard for you, it's also not applying to you. So both cases,
makes sense.
For immigration purpose, you're not affected. You don't have to worry. If you have already scored in the PT, just keep it like that. So you don't have to change anything for now. For now, everything remains the same. Do not worry about, or do not panic, because I think this has created a lot of panic in international people's community. That they're worried about, oh, I have to redo the test. No, you don't have to, right? So over to you, Vishal. So I hope this helped you in understanding how this changes will impact the immigration, especially.
Definitely. Thank you so much. What I've taken out, a quick snapshot from your advice is that whatever the changes will be in the future, or whatever the changes are now, it will not impact the old students. So the old students are in a clear go. They don't have to worry about whether the new changes will impact them. Until and unless the score validity is still there, they are still okay. So they don't have to reappear for the exam. That clears one of the very big market currently we have, the students who are still waiting for the invitation. Now for the upcoming test takers, it is still the old system until and unless immigration makes some changes. We can still rely on the old scores. That means they can still try to get their desired score with 79, especially for the 8 aspirants. Another point which we normally get is whether immigration, I think you will be able to answer this perfectly, whether immigration will support this change considering the COVID period. Because already we had a very less students coming this year. Now this has both positive impact and negative impact on the students. especially for the students who are the first time who wanted to get the student visa. Now they have, less scores to get. On the other hand, the migrants who wanted to get the permanent residency, they have to get a higher score. So what do you think, will government in the future will support this or oppose this? What are the benefits? Over to you, Weber, please.
Thank you, Vishal. So basically, see, again, now re-emphasize that this update that PT has provided is, let's say, it's the concordant to PT academic score, like IELTS to PT, right? It's a conversion table, basically, right? So what is IELTS 6 each equals to PT scores, But this does not mean that the department will accept these changes, because the department doesn't have to accept these changes. So in my personal opinion, I don't think the department will have to change, or they will change this criteria, in my personal opinion, because obviously the rest is up to the government. But I believe that they will not even bother changing any criteria, because this is just a conversion table according to PT and IELTS, right? It doesn't say competent English is 50 in PT, or right now what they say is competent. It doesn't say competent English, let's say in PT is 46, right? For example. So they don't say that. So what they're saying is competent IELTS 6 each is PT is 46 each, right? 46 in each module, correct? So that's a conversion table, right? For IELTS. But then because IELTS is competent English is IELTS 6 each, and you can't compare that, okay, that IELTS 6 is competent English, that means PT is 46 each now. Because the department, when they defined the competent English, they mentioned that IELTS this score, PT this score. So, and I don't think they will change at all. My personal opinion is completely no, you don't have to worry, don't have to panic. I don't think anything's going to change.
I think that's a very great news, especially for all the students, whether, it is 6 each, 7 each, or 8 each. Now they are in a relief moment, especially, as I said, students were in a great panic mode. They started, booking the exam, and I was looking yesterday for the dates and everything. Full December month is booked out, especially because students are, rushing up for the exam. They wanted to clear ASAP, but I think that is a push which is needed for some students who were taking it a little bit, on a lighter side, on a granted side, so I think that's a benefit for them as well. Now, Weber, do we have any questions to answer from the audience so that we can look into them and try to clear some of the doubts from the students?
Sure. I think you mentioned that you had some questions that came in on your chat. So if you can also
yes,
put those questions forward, I'm happy to take over.
100%. So I have few of the questions which were asked. One of the questions says, it is from Raj. He's saying, I achieved 80, 84, 87, and 90 in PD last year and have already applied for an EOI. But my EOI will expire in February 2021. And if by then I don't receive an invite, then would I have to reapply under the new score criteria?
No, again, as I said, see, the definition so the answer is no, very simple for this line, because the definition for a proficient English, so if you go and apply for your EOI right now, the EOI will still consider 79 in each module to be a superior English. So as soon as you try lodging a new EOI, the system will automatically calculate the points. And the system will still calculate the 20 points for your English score as long as it's valid.
Correct. So the question, which is basically the student is asking about the expression of interest. Now we know after 2 years, the expression of interest will be expired. So anyways, he have to reapply EOI, but he does not have to reapply for the exam. That's what I think the answer would be.
Score is valid. So if, as I said, the department says the score is valid for 3 years from the date of test, right? So if your date is, let's say, for example, 2018, then your score is valid until 2021. But if your score is 2019, then your score is valid until 2022, right? From the date of test. So as long as your score is valid for your new EOI, your point score will still be the 20 points for English.
Makes sense. Thank you so much, Weber. Let's answer the next question. Now, the next question was, again, it is very similar, but a little bit about IT field. Now, this student is Somil Patel. He's saying, I got 90, 90, 90, and 83 on 22nd of November. Hopefully, I don't have to retake. And then he's saying, I haven't lodged my EOI yet, waiting for PY completion and skills assessment. What should I do?
Yeah, so basically, see, the applicant is waiting for a PY completion and skills assessment. So once he completes the PY, he will go for a skills assessment, get his skills assessment, and then lodge in EOI. So at the time of, obviously, I think by the time if the rule is changed, which is not unlikely. So
yeah,
if the rule has not changed, excuse me for my wording because it's more technical in a way, because we have to be very clear when we say things. So if the rule has not changed and if it remains the same, you don't have to reappear in the test because you already have scored Superior English as of now, according to the current department's definition for Superior English. So if you go on their website, the Superior English says 79 in each, right? So you still have it in PT.
Correct.
That's it. So yes, you can go ahead, apply for your, complete your PY, then get your skills assessment in your nominated occupation, collect all your points and apply for an EOI. Your EOI will still again count the points, 20 points for your English score because you have met the criteria for Superior English.
Makes sense. Thank you so much, Weber. I think that will definitely help Somil. Next question is from Naman. Now he's saying, I have given exam on 1st of December and got overall 79. And he has, above 79 in all the other modules as well. His concern is that whether my scorecard is valid or do I have to get 84 again? I think we've already answered this question that it will not impact.
It's the same thing, yeah. So you don't have to, you don't have to reappear because, as I said, most of the people on the social media asking these questions, even as I said, our clients are in the same dilemma. That does it affect me? Because as I said, see, you need to understand one thing: is this is not a Department of Home Affairs changes. This is a PT's comparison with IELTS. It's a very simple news, and it just blasted. So I think it's a very simple news to understand that PT has just provided a conversion table.
Correct.
What is IELTS 6 each in PT according to them, their surveys, right? But this does not have any impact on any visa application, right? Or does not have any impact on your future visa application unless the Department of Home Affairs changes the criteria. So I guess a lot of people have just misunderstood this and they've got panicked as well. I've got calls coming at night as well, or texts coming at night as well, asking me that, oh sir, I'm very worried. Please answer this question. And now I've been telling them, see, please don't worry. So I now have actually a template prepared for it. Send everybody the same template because
copy and paste it and send it.
Yes, pretty much. Yes. Because everybody is asking the same question. If you go through your questions as well, I think it's the same question from everyone in different words. That am I impacted? As I said, if you are using it for immigration purpose in Australia, it has zero impact of this announcement on your visa applications or future application unless the department announces it.
Makes sense. Now, this student, Yusuf, he's commenting in one of the other questions that, hi, I think it mostly affects anyone who hasn't provided their, English saying is that if you haven't got the invitation, it impacts you. And what else he's saying is immigration offices only cares about the time of visa invitation. Whether you took the exam the day before invitation or 2 years prior, it does not matter. So that means if you have not got the invitation and rule changes, you will be impacted.
If rule changes, but then the rule is not changed by the department. Now I think, sorry, what was the name of the person?
Yusuf.
Yeah, so Yusuf's understanding is that it will impact, if I'm not wrong, what from the text what he's read is that he believes that anybody lodges an EOI now or has not been invited will be impacted, right? But as I said, this rule is not changed by the Department of Home Affairs. So this is PT's conversion table. So unless the Department of Home Affairs changes the definition of a Superior English, none of the applicants are affected. So in his understanding is half right, half is incorrect, which is, yes, anybody who lodges and if the department changes the rule, yes, that will be the impact. That if the Department of Home Affairs says, okay, now for Superior English, we have to get 84 in PT, yes, from that day onwards, anybody lodges a visa application or gets an invite, will have to meet the new criteria because anyways, the system will automatically change the points for you. if you're not invited, right? So let's say if I've lodged an EOI at 90 points right now, and I have 79 in each module in PTE. Now, for now,
Right.
this changes does not impact me at all, zero. But let's say 3 months or 6 months later, the Department of Home Affairs comes back and says, okay, we have also changed the criteria now for superior English. In PTE, you need to get 84 in each module. In that case, yes, my EOI will automatically change the points the day the department, implies these changes, or let's say, these changes are actually in place. That from that day onwards, the system will automatically change my points to proficient English instead of superior English, because now I went back into this, in the previous block of proficient English, right? So in that case, yes, it will impact. But right now, the Department of Home Affairs, neither they have changed the rule, nor they have announced that they will be changing. So right now, none of the applicants are impacted. Yes, so over to you, Vishal.
Makes sense. Well, this could be a little bit technical, I guess. If a person has, lodged the EOI and the rule changes, does it impact that person?
Yes, it does. So if, as I said, if the Department of Home Affairs will change the rule, then yes, it will impact that particular applicant, right? But as long as the department has not changed the rule, it's not impacting anyone. So yes, your answer to your question, if the department changes the rules that we need 84 in PT to meet the superior English requirement, yes, it will be. Like then it will impact everybody who has even lodged an EOI.
Right. Makes sense. I think a lot of students got confused with the report which PT published. We need to understand what was the agenda of PT. It was not to update the scores in terms of the immigration. I think what they did was they just basically compared their level with IELTS level, and then they increased the bar. That's what they did. They did not just increase the bar for the immigrants. They did not increase the bar for any of the student visa applicants or any for the PY applicants. What they did, they just did it for themselves to make the comparison between IELTS and PT. I think that what the report stated at the start, that it is just only basis on the research which they did in 2009. They did a survey, and on basis of that report, they produced the results. So the report was done in 2009, and then they clearly states that after that many years, we finally came up to this conclusion that this is the level and this is the level. But again, I think it should not impact any of the students, any student, until and unless government approves this.
That's correct.
Right, right. Now, I think we have covered almost everything. Again, thank you so much, Weber. I think there were a few questions where a lot of students were confused, especially students who wish to give the exam in coming weeks, and that student as well, or those students as well, who have already given the exams in the previous months or a previous year, and they were worried that whether they have to give the exam again. And I remember there was this funny call which I got yesterday. He said, Vishal, I have already given 15 times PTE, and I got my result the last attempt. Don't tell me to give the PTE again, I'll go back. I said, do not worry,
you must be happy now. After watching this video, you might be very happy.
Yeah, he might be very happy. I think he's texting me now. No, I'm just kidding. I think we have covered everything from expression of interest point of view to the students who have already taken the exam, to the students who wish to take the exam in the future. I think everyone is in a clear go now. Again, thanking you a lot for sparing some time out for the students so that they are in a clear go. They now have a clear agenda, a clear goal, what they have to work on.
That's right. And Vishal, thank you very much for inviting us. And before we go, actually, I would like to also mention that please, international students and applicants who are intending to apply for a migration, please ensure that you don't listen to this news and just misinterpret this news. And sometimes, you just end up actually spoiling your nights. In fact, a lot of people I've heard, a lot of messages I've seen, I've heard from the clients as well, that I didn't sleep the entire night. So that's what happens when you actually follow and blindly on the news. So you got to make sure that you get a right advice from the right people, to ensure that you are on the right track, and do not just panic because there is some announcement. So I would say yes, definitely. If you need any help with the PT or NATI coaching, Vishal is the man who can help you out. And if you need any migration or education related services,
Thank you
you
so
might have
much.
heard us already, which is
And
Outlook Group.
if 100%.
Sorry, yes, go ahead, Vishal. Yes, go ahead, Vishal. You were saying something?
Right, right. Thank you so much, Weber. Um, yes. I was saying that it's great of you. Now, students, again, as you said, some students get into some, incorrect advice from their friend or their, known person, and they act on that, without consulting with the real expert. So I would say that if you guys have any questions, any doubt, Weber is there, his team is there, contact them to understand the changes, to understand how it impacts you and the implications of that. Because it is a matter of livelihood. And if you do not take it seriously, it can impact you severely, and it can impact all the efforts which you have made over the years. So do not act until and unless you have got the advice from the real expert, from the Mara agent himself or themselves, so that you can then 100% sure that you can rely on their advice.
That's correct.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Weber.
Thank you very much for the meeting.
Thank you.